Hi guys, I'm Shana from I'mWorthy.com, your daily resource for vegan recipes and wellness tips. And we're kicking off our wellness series with a very special guest. I'd love for you to share a bit more about how you got started with your business.
Okay, hi. First of all, thank you for inviting me on for the kickoff here.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yes. Since 1990, I've owned Partners in Wellness. I opened that up, and Partners in Wellness, I do colon therapy, digestive consultation. I have other various practitioners here doing acupuncture, hypnosis. So everything is working on clearing and cleansing the body so the body's wisdom can heal. Another practice I also do is something called TRE, Tension Trauma Release Exercise, which is a way of interrupting stress. Again, another way for clearing the way so the body, mind, and spirit can heal.
Nice, nice. And so you said you've been doing that for about 20 years now.
27.
27
yeah.
years. Oh, wow. Okay, awesome.
And I don't know if you're going to mention anything about, it's like I was raised in the industry. So I've been marinating in this since childhood. My dad had one of the first health food stores in Chicago. So in the 50s, when it was not a cool thing, he was there selling vitamins, greens, and telling people to do all sorts of healthy things. And I was raised with drinking green juices that tasted terrible. They've known we have wonderful recipes, I'm sure, that make them very tasty, and I was not raised with that. With eating very healthy, with getting enemas if I had a pimple, a cold, or a flu. So never a doctor, never an antibiotic.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. So Alyce is going to help us learn a bit more about gut health and what we can do at home. Some small tips that we can do at home to improve our gut health. So let's get started. What is your gut and why does it even matter?
I like to call it Grand Central Station. Everything goes on there. It's like we ingest our foods, as healthy as they might be or unhealthy. They get into our intestines, into our gut, into our colon. In the small intestine, there's 25 feet of that. 25 feet, that's where at least 90% of everything digests. After it digests, those leftovers go into the large intestine and eliminates. In this area is where you're absorbing all your nutrients. So if you're not digesting it properly, whether because you're not chewing your food right, whether or not because you're stressed and you're not digesting it properly, then those nutrients are not going into your bloodstream. You might say, so what? Well, if that's not occurring, then this is how your skin is fed. This is how your hair is fed. This is how your immune system is fed. If things are not working there, it's going to show up on the skin. It's going to show up in hair, achy muscles. You're going to be getting colds and flus and all sorts of conditions over and over again and wondering what's going on. But this is your immune system. This is your major immune system. There's 100 other things, but that's the main thing. It feeds you and it supports you. And it shows up everywhere in your body.
Wow. That's so good to know. So basically it seems like it affects everything.
Everything. Your mood also. Because in the gut, more serotonin, and I don't know if people have heard serotonin when you're not feeling good, you'll be on medication that supports the serotonin in your system. That's the feel-good hormone. People think it's made in the brain. More of it is made in the gut than anywhere else.
Oh wow.
So if you're carrying around lots of garbage and things are not working properly, serotonin is not being produced nor distributed. So this is going to affect your mood. So if you're crabby, you don't always blame the car in front of you. Don't blame mom, dad, or your spouse. It might be your gut. I have other nutritionalists, chiropractors, alternative functional doctors directing people to me for colon therapy, for changing diet, so that their program and their protocol can be successful. Without this being healthy, all the supplements and all the foods that you're ingesting and spending lots of money on, it's going to take double the amount of time to really get well. If this is clear and open, you can receive, I'm going to say, the beautiful vibration of the beautiful foods that you're ingesting, and as well as the supplements.
Wow, that's amazing. Which foods can improve our gut health?
I guess you wouldn't believe me if I said Twinkies, huh? Not Twinkies. Foods with fiber. I'm going to say probably top of the heap. It would be vegetables. Vegetables, and I'm going to say whole grains. Not everybody, though, can tolerate whole grains because of a lot of food of the glutens and sensitivities. But let me just start with the green vegetables. Yes, it would be wonderful if they were raw, but if you can steam them or cook them. Not everyone can do raw, but lots of vegetables. I always say vegetable is your main course. Everything else is a side dish. People are still eating pork chops. Fine, but have vegetable as your, at least to start, vegetable as your main course, and still have your pork chop until you make the next step. That's still sometimes not enough fiber because people can eat tons of vegetables, so you need the soluble and the insoluble fiber, where again, whole grains will provide that. Again, not everyone can do that, but so you can sprinkle ground flaxseed on your salad or your vegetable. Chia seeds, hemp seeds.
Hemp seeds.
Yes, you could put that in a smoothie. If people are that far advanced, which I hope they are, because smoothies are everywhere. You can buy a smoothie and even put that in. So those would be the top of the list for foods to ingest to support gut function, increasing the water, drinking water. People spend lots of money on vitamins, lots of money even on food, but they're not drinking enough water. And water helps carry the nutrients into the cells. So you can be spending $100 a week on wonderful supplements from Whole Foods or your practitioner, but it's not being carried in. Water is needed to flush the cell of toxins, leave some room for some nutrients to come in. So sometimes that's the cheapest thing, but sometimes the most difficult thing for most people to do. Another thing that I'll educate people on, which will be what we'll say, is not to drink water with your meals. 30 minutes before, 30 minutes after.
That was something I learned from you. Yes, I did learn that.
Hot off the press?
Yes.
Yeah, and I talk about, all these things I talk about in my book, and when you come and see me. But that is like, that's so counterintuitive. You go to a restaurant, they bring you water. What do you want? Coffee and tea? You want a glass of wine? This is our culture. This is what we've been taught. This is what we've been raised with. But if you're drinking anything with your meals, you're diluting the digestive enzymes in your stomach. People say, so what? You dilute the digestive enzymes, you're not breaking the food down, and then you end up with bloat, constipation, irritable bowel, because you're not digesting. If you're not digesting, you're not breaking things down so it can go into your bloodstream and feed your skin and your hair and your immune system. You're drinking, you're not chewing enough, so the enzyme that's secreted from your mouth, amylase, breaking down starches, is not being produced. So you're cheating. You're making your stomach work harder. Chewing here starts the muscular action that gets the bowels moving to get things out. So this is not a disconnect from here. Yeah. This chewing starts a whole stimulation. So plus, it also makes you mindful of like what you're eating. I know when I'm really hungry, I inhale one plate and then say, oh, can I have another plate so I can taste it? Well, if you're swishing it down and gulping it down with water or Pepsi, a tea or whatever, you're not tasting anything, nor are you digesting. This is going to save you lots of money on supplements just by doing this. Maybe you can't do it for all 3 meals. Experiment with 1 meal. Experiment. See what your food tastes like for a change. And some people will say it's too salty or too it's too sweet, too salty, so I have to wash it down. Well, then your food is too salty and too sweet. So you get really mindful of what you're choosing.
What are the symptoms of an unhealthy gut?
This is going to be a direct contributor, if not kind of a secondary. I mean, we have the obvious, like if something's not going right, then you're not going to the bathroom every day, okay? Mm-hmm. People don't realize 3 meals in, 3 meals out.
Yeah.
I know doctors will say everybody has their own rhythm. Mm-hmm. I don't know how many of my clients have said, my doctor says, this is normal, I don't have to go every day, but I feel really uncomfortable. And I would agree if laxatives were not like almost top of the list of millions of dollars of that being sold.
Yeah.
And how many people are being diagnosed with irritable bowel and constipation and also diverticulitis and you name the gut condition. So those are off the charts. So if that was normal, those things would not be occurring. Mm. So if you're not going to the bathroom every day, if it's 3 meals in and not 3 meals out, that's something to pay attention to. Wow. If you're going to the bathroom and it smells, that's saying there's an imbalance of bacteria in the gut. Mm. So that's just even something to stop. If you have something as simple as bad breath, might be saying you're not digesting and instead of the odor coming out this way, it's coming out this way. Mm. Bloat, gas, indigestion. Mm-hmm. People often will think like, oh, if I just take an antacid, yeah. It's really about the digestive process in the gut. Wow. Yeah. Headaches. Oh, you're going to take an aspirin. Clear the gut and get that going. That headache goes away. Mm. Foggy thinking. Everyone's talking about the foggy brain, the candida, the overabundance of yeast, with yeast infections. Gut.
What does it mean to have a leaky gut?
Everyone probably may have some version of it. Our intestines are just a muscle that hold our waste matter to hopefully move it out, 3 meals in, 3 meals out. and there's a certain amount of porousness to our gut, to our tissues. That's just part of the nature. But leaky gut is when there might be like almost like, if you think of a strainer, like almost little microscopic tears. And this comes because of inflammation in the gut, because of parasites, which we may all have parasites. It's just, do we compromise our immune system enough for it to take over? Mm-hmm. Candida is another kind of parasite that causes irritation. So anytime those kind of irritants irritate our gut and create this porousness, then even when we're eating wonderfully healthy food, not drinking water, chewing it well, digesting it, it goes into our gut, but there's these little porous tears, and so molecules of food will go into the system and cause inflammation in the body. Mm-hmm. And often when there's leaky gut, someone could eat the healthiest food one day and feel terrible and think like, what's wrong? I'm eating really healthy. But it's because things are not being contained and moved out. And there's a chronic inflammation going on in the body. And they're chasing their tail. And people might go for food allergy tests. And if they truly did that, they can go every week for a food allergy test, and they would have different food allergies every week, because this is just showing a different inflammation every week, because this which is supposed to be contained is not.
Okay. What are pre and probiotics, and should we be taking them?
They are gut protectors. So I'm going to say yes, more to one than the other. Okay. And let me explain my philosophy. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean it's the truth. It's just been my experience. As I've been sharing, like, oh my God, this gut that's, affects everything. Mm-hmm. How do we protect it? And one of the ways is by probiotics. Probiotics are a way of ingesting good bacteria into our gut. Mm-hmm. And we want good bacteria in our gut. We have good bacteria. We should have it anyhow by nature. And some bad bacteria. It's just part of nature. It's like even a neighborhood, there's bad. There's a mixture of everything. But you don't want an imbalance in one or the other. In the gut, you want really more good bacteria, mm-hmm. good peeps, okay? When you have good bacteria in the gut, there's less gas. The bowels are either let's just say this, when someone comes and sees me and they have diarrhea or constipation, I will educate them on probiotics, because either side of that is saying there's an imbalance of probiotics, of good bacteria in the gut. When you have more bad bacteria in the gut, your food cravings for sugar, for starches increase, because that is the food of the bad bacteria. It lives off of sugar and lives off of starch, which turns into sugar. So some people are trying very hard not to eat these foods, but the cravings are so big. So if we can change that environment, I always say you take one devil out of the room, because if at least you can change the physiological chain part of the craving, great. You still might have the emotional craving, like, I feel so lonesome, I still need my chocolate bar. Okay, so you still have that emotional part, but it's not all physiological.
Okay.
Yeah. So it gives you some control. All right. So I think everyone should be on it, because what interrupts and what throws off the good bacteria is stress, coffee, alcohol, definitely antibiotics, medications, poor food, sugar, you know. I mean, I might have missed a few, but those are kind of the top ones.
Yeah.
And especially the antibiotics will wipe out everything, and then you're just left with kind of a voided area. And what ends up happening, usually people start doing their regular diet and feed the bad bacteria, and then they're totally out of control with diet and feeling one inflammation after the other after that. And then chasing, and then they're on another antibiotic, and then another.
And the cycle just continues.
Yes.
Wow.
It's supposed to be the fertilizer to help probiotics really fertilize and grow. Prebiotics you'll find in banana. It's an undigested fiber. You can find it in banana, artichoke, chicory. These are usually what the prebiotics are made from. And it's an undigested fiber going through that 25 feet of small intestine. By the time it gets to the large intestine, it's fermented, and it's supposed to help fertilize the probiotics, so that, you've got a good gardener there. Well, my experience has been that, especially with so much stuff going on with people's guts, that's a little, it creates it just produces too much gas for a majority of the people. And they're feeling more uncomfortable than comfortable. So I like to just pull them back on that until I feel that they've established a healthier large intestine before we're going through doing stuff with the small intestine. I like to recommend and educate people on doing chlorophyll, which if you have plenty of greens will help. That's another form of fertilizer for the gut and for probiotic, and yet it soothes the small intestine, it soothes the large intestine, and it also helps move bile out of the liver, and it's the body's natural laxative. So it's like, I like multitasking with one product that you can find in a product like green vegetables or in chlorophyll or alfalfa, that you can take that along with your probiotic instead of the prebiotics that are out there. And some people may have had great results. Most of my clients, as well as myself, have not.
How can exercise impact our gut?
I want to say movement begets movement. I have many clients who've worked with me for years and refuse to exercise, thinking walking around the block is going to help get their stuck gut moving. And maybe for some it does, but it's like, movement is so wonderful because, one, exercising, you're going to be breathing deeper. And breathing deeper is going to help move the diaphragm breathing muscle. And that muscle is right under your lungs and right above your intestines, your colon there, and your digestive organs. So when you're exercising, that diaphragm is moving up and moving down, moving up, moving down. So you're massaging this whole area, and it starts stimulating about the bowel function. So that's a wonderful process. Plus, the movement of your legs is hitting reflex points in I'll call it the sigmoid area and the cecum area, which may mean nothing to anybody, but these lower portion of the bowel. You press those points, that will stimulate a bowel function. and a bowel movement. So is exercise important? Absolutely. When we are stressed, our body is in fight and flight. When we're in fight and flight, blood is shunted away from our gut, goes into our arms and legs so that we could flee or fight, so we can protect ourselves. But when this happens, our gut function doesn't work because our gut's not thinking about going to the bathroom, it's thinking about protecting. Wonderful. That's great that our body is doing this, but we need to get back to business here. But often our body and our nervous system stays in fight or flight. We don't process that out. So I have some things to help people to bring kind of function back into our guts so that things can work. So we're not in stress mode, which really our body is in a slow, like in a low-grade inflammation. And so our bodies truly can't heal from anything because there's always an inflammation going on.
Wow.
Yeah. So let me share some of the things that I mentioned, I offer and educate people on. This is called the Belly Buddy. This warms up in your microwave or conventional oven. This is warmed. You put it on your belly. You know what? I didn't reinvent the wheel. I created this, but what this is, it's bringing warmth. So if you want to put a heating pad, a hot water bottle, put warmth there. Warmth will start drawing blood back into the gut area that's been shunted away from the stress. Having warmth here makes you even take a deep breath because it's like, oh, that feels really comfortable. So you don't have to have someone tell you, take a deep breath. You know, when you're stressed, that's the last thing I want someone to tell me, you know. But if the body naturally does it and you organically do it, that's really nice. You take a deep breath, your diaphragm starts massaging your intestines and things calm down again. Just warmth here relaxes tight muscles in the gut, and that relaxes things. With this, I've created the Belly Buddy being 2.5 pounds. So whether you use a Belly Buddy or whether or not you use a heating pad, put at least a book on top of it. You want a little bit of weight. A little bit of weight calms the nervous system in the gut. So great that you're using warmth, but put a little bit of weight onto that. So that's a real biggie for interrupting stress. Of course, taking deep breaths is going to help, but putting warmth and just allowing yourself to breathe. A couple other things that I even mentioned in the book. Journaling. Some people don't like writing, but journaling, getting stuff out of your system that is frustrating, you know, just so it's not in here. When it's in here, it's a stress. When it's out here, you've taken it out, the energy out. Some people don't like writing. I don't like writing, even though I wrote a book. So I say, everyone's usually got a phone that you can record in. So I say, sit in your car and swear in it and say everything, you know, make the devil blush, I always say, and get what's in your gut, in your system, the sadnesses, the angers, the frustrations, get them out, and then you can delete. Yes.
Nice. And your book, by the way, is called Gut Wisdom.
Yes.
Can you share a little bit more about what, you know, if someone's interested in buying it, what they would definitely find inside of the book?
It's like opening my head and pouring it in there. Within the book is all my 30 years plus stuff from my childhood that I've learned both in the conventional nutritional system as well as the alternative. It's going to be both how the body, mind, spirit, really about all the steps in how to really work with your body. And I want to say in a really easy way. I wrote it so if people couldn't come and visit me, that they could read this and they would feel like I was there. That I could tell them to take this step, just take this one little step, take these 3 steps. You can open it to any page and start there or go from the beginning into the end. You could use it as a reference guide. You can use it as a doorstop, but I wouldn't recommend it. But you can use it. I tried to make it very easy to read, understandable, and full of lots of resources about even if you're doing a couple steps, that's going to make a difference.
Okay. Awesome.
So these are some of the things, if you came to visit me or do a consultation on the phone, would be some of the things that I would recommend in helping supporting the gut. I like using this particular probiotic. So we talked about probiotics. Lots of probiotics out there. Mm-hmm. I'm not impressed with somebody saying mine has 10 million billion.
Yeah.
I, as a colon therapist, get a bird's eye view what happens to people's system with whatever probiotic they're using. I can see that in their waste matter. Mm-hmm. Fun job. But I can see it. And I particularly, after 30 years, I've used a lot of different products. I like the Claire Vita Plus. Has both acidophilus and bifidus, which are both probiotics. And I like it because it's this is fermented from carrot. A lot of people are sensitive to dairy, and even though stuff is fermented from dairy, they're not necessarily affecting the gut that differently. I still like trying to be as clean as possible with that, and I've seen that work very well. I like recommending then people taking a chlorophyll. So here, this is a chlorophyll capsule. You can get chlorophyll in a lot of ways, like alfalfa, barley, wheatgrass, all sorts of different. I like this particular chlorophyll. You can get this in liquid or in capsule. I'll let people taking this. I'll educate people to take this together because this is what I'll call my prebiotic. Plus, this is gently cleansing the system. It's got high in magnesium, so it helps move the bowels. Detoxes the liver, it soothes and heals the gut lining. So you're getting a lot of bang for your buck, and these are working well together. Mm-hmm.
That's good to know.
Yeah. All right, here, this is ground flaxseed. And, this is ground. Ideally, if people can get whole flaxseed and grind it, because flaxseed turns rancid quickly. Mm-hmm. You want them probably grind enough for 3 days, keep it refrigerated. Everyone's at different stages. They're not going to do that. So you get a container of ground flaxseed, keep it refrigerated, and put a teaspoon sprinkled on your salads and your smoothie. Mm-hmm. Great way to get fiber in. Yeah. Yes. As you're slowly trying to increase your vegetables and other whole grain fibers, if you can't do that, you start using fibers like this, or like I said before, chia or hemp. And maybe let's even jump over to... I brought 2 of those. We only need one. This one is kind of my magic formula that people think I'm really smart. Okay. They come to see me and I educate them, especially if I'm sensing we're all working on interrupting stress. So it's not going to be all of a sudden you put a belly button and warmth on, and now that you know to interrupt stress because it creates inflammation, you could stop it. We need life rafts along the way. This is a great life raft, and it strengthens the bowel muscles. This is called Release Zyme. This both has digestive enzymes in it and some herbs in there. The digestive enzymes help the food digest in the small intestine, where everything is just about digested there. When food is digested well, things are going to move much easier out, and you'll have less gas and bloat. Plus, there's herbs in here that help strengthen the weakened bowel muscle. So you're getting like a 2-for-1 in here. Yeah.
I love that.
Isn't that? This is. So whether it's you people using this in between times when they're seeing me, or it supports their system in really being regular. I love when people are using this with their meals, along with a probiotic. If they toss in the chlorophyll, that's an extra. But using that, it's like, maybe you don't need to see me again, but if you walk away, I know you're in good hands, so to speak. Yeah. Definitely.
And then you have castor oil here.
I brought castor oil out here. This is a flannel. Often I'll recommend doing a castor oil abdominal massage. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you may just want to do a massage with regular massage oil, and I have how to do that, as well as the castor oil pack in the book. Castor oil I love because I use that as I'm rubbing people's abdominal area. Castor oil during the Middle Ages was called palm of Christ, because it did so many things. It vibrates at such a high level. And you apply it, and it will seep into the tissues of the body. and soften hardened stool in the gut. You can rub it on an elbow that's inflamed and reduce inflammation.
Oh, wow.
People will use it for arthritic conditions. But going back to the gut, you're rubbing that on, applying flannel and warmth on that, and that will seep and soften scar tissue adhesions. A lot of people have had surgeries. It will soften the tissues in there. It will soften hardened stool. I have a lot of mothers use this with their children. You were asking about children. They're not going to come in and have a colonic. You're not going to give them maybe an enema at home. Maybe they're not changing diet, but you could rub their bellies with castor oil and put some warmth on them. And that will seep into the tissue of the body. Anything you put on your body seeps into the tissues. And sometimes you'll even see oil droplets in your stool when you go to the bathroom.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
I will definitely be leaving links to everything that Alyce mentioned in the description box below. Also, if you are in the Chicagoland area and would love to have a consultation with Alyce, I will also leave her information in the description box as well. And Alyce, thank you so much for being my first guest on my wellness series. I definitely appreciate it. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you soon.